European Public Policy Conference. It's great to see so many people interested in turning in for a brief introduction into this year's conference, and also to listen to our speaker today, Dr. Sebastian Levy, who is a postdoctoral researcher at the Hertie School, and who will give us a quick deep dive into his research into the circular economy and sustainability overall. But before we get to this, my fellow co-chairs and I, we will tell you what is the European Public Policy Conference all about, how we made sure that it's not just another online conference, how we devised and structured our 3 subtopics, and the diverse ways that you can take part in the conference this year. As you can see on our first slide, we have our amazing speakers and who will show us how we can move away from linear consumption and towards coming full circle. And as we probably are all aware, the global climate crisis is the most pressing issue of our time and requires a complete overhaul in the way we live. And I think research and policies surrounding the circular economy have become indispensable to any meaningful action to mitigate and adapt to climate change. And every facet of policy needs to change to address the climate crisis. And thus we have chosen this year's conference topic, which will have the circular economy coming full circle. And our conference will happen from the 23rd of April to the 25th of April. In case you haven't heard about the EPPC before, it is a co-initiative of the Hertie School here in Berlin and the IPLI Foundation. The foundation's director, Tim, is actually joining us tonight. You can actually see him stroking his beard on the photo on the slide before you at one of the previous European Public Policy Conferences. And on the map beside him, you can see where the EPPC has happened throughout the years, basically all across Europe. And as diverse as the locations are the topics. The previous EPPCs have covered topics from migration to digital democracy to EU integration and poverty reduction. Last year's EPPC was planned in Lithuania's capital Vilnius, but had to be cancelled last minute due to, well, you can probably guess, COVID-19. However, after having met last year's organizers and getting a glimpse into the amazing conference they prepared, and unfortunately had to cancel, we really just wanted to keep the spirit of their conference and the topic that they were exploring policy responses to climate change. And thereby, we want to come full circle with our conference this year by having our topic, the circular economy. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this year's conference will be orchestrated from Berlin and streamed online across the world to truly enable worldwide participation. And thereby, we have made sure to provide the same kinds of engaging keynote speeches, panel discussions, and workshops as all the previous European Public Policy Conferences have done before, like, for example, the 2019 edition that you can see featured on the photos before you. And now my colleague Toby will explain to you how we made sure that this year's Public Policy Conference will not just be another online conference. Toby.
Thank you, Chris, for the nice intro and for giving us a brief overview about what EPPC is about. And we know it's 1 year COVID, probably all had so many online conferences everywhere. You had these Zoom conferences where it was one Zoom link, the other Zoom link, the next Zoom link. And you had these other conferences where you had like PDF schedules where you had to find everything. And it wasn't a common thread and whatever. And we really want to change this. It's actually 6 things we want to give you on this EPPC, which will make it a truly amazing experience. So what's first? First is the people. The people are the main thing of every conference. And what we think, if you cannot attend the conference in person, we bring the conference and the people to your home. Second of all is the red thread. I talked about these Zoom links and about several sessions that are not really connected to each other. And what we want to do is give you a red thread from the morning of every day till evening with continuous moderation, with people who lead you through the discussions, who maybe reflect a bit with you so that you have really the true conference feeling. Next one is about people again, because we want to make the networking experience the same it always is in conferences. We will use a tool where you can have one-on-one chats with people, where you can have breakouts, whatever you can chat with people, and can also video chat. So therefore, you will have the truly networking experience. Of course, this also depends on you. We need you to engage so that everyone has a similar experience as you would have in a live conference. Fourth thing, it's about all of the world. This year we can stream to everywhere. People from Panama can take part. People from the US can take part. People from China, whatever. We have speakers from different countries. We will have participants from different countries. And as I always like to say, online doesn't need to be worse. Online is just different, and you need to handle it different. And that's exactly what we're trying this conference. Next one, I already talked about breakouts, and breakouts are a thing which we really like in online conferences, because we know just hearing to a podium where there are 4 speakers and you maybe 100 attendees, that's not the real thing. The real thing are small discussions. Therefore, we will have workshops together with Circular Berlin and focus on having small groups and really working on smaller topics together. Last of our 6 point is basically the social events, because we know normally you mingle with people, you might go to a bar afterwards, maybe there's even a party, and we just bring it to the online level. So we will have a film screening together with Cinema Politica from Hertie about the film Honeyland. We will also have other social events which we want to surprise you with a bit later. So just be tuned, follow our social media accounts, look on the website. More infos will pop up once in a while. And what's the most amazing thing about all of it? We have all of this in one single platform. I talked to you about the Zoom link thing, which we really don't want to have. So we decided to invest in a platform and to have this one space where you can have all of this. You meet the people there, you sign up on the same platform. You will also have the panel discussions, whatever there. It's called Hop-In, and we already enjoyed setting it up so far and are truly believing that you will enjoy using it as soon as it's the 23rd of April. But let's now get a deep dive into the topic with Lufla. She will elaborate a bit on which speakers we have and also what our subtopics are.
Yeah, thank you, Toby. So now that you all have a general overview of what the EPPC is and how it will take place, we can take together a closer look at the topics that we will cover. And as you probably know by now, the overarching topic is the circular economy. We have selected, however, 3 sub-areas that we want to explore more in detail, and these are digitalization, global trade, and circular cities. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So after opening the conference with a keynote on Friday and with a movie screening, we will start off on Saturday with digitalization. And what we want to do here is we want to explore the potential that digital tools have in fostering the circular economy. And in order to do so, we have invited different stakeholders from politics, academia, business, and the nonprofit sector. You can see a selection here. For example, we have someone from the European Commission, someone from Zero Waste Europe. And after a more general panel discussion in the morning, we will get into greater detail by interviewing a few startup founders, which you can see in the coming slide, if I can have that, please. Thank you. And these are all startups that operate in different sectors, but have one thing in common, which is they are using digitalization to foster the circular transition. And next slide, please. Thank you. Then we will move from the small bottom-up startup scene to the global sphere, and specifically towards global trade. In fact, it is undeniable that we live in a globalized world. So we asked ourselves, what does circularity imply for global trade and how can it be implemented? In order to answer this, we have also invited a mix of stakeholders, for example, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and the European Investment Bank. And last but not least, on the 3rd day, we go back to the local level, talking about circular cities. Currently, about 85% of global GDP is generated through cities, which means that these densely populated urban municipalities have immense resource needs. For us, this means that they have great potential to move away from linear consumption patterns and towards hyperlocal systems that prioritize reuse, repair, and regeneration instead. So these are our three main topics, but there's more because, as Toby and Chris have said already, we have also movie screening, we have a few social events, we have workshops, which will allow you to put into practice what has been discussed during the panels. And I will now hand over back to Chris, who will tell you more about how can you sign up for everything and how you can get involved in all of our activities.
Yes, thank you so much, Lufla, for this brief glimpse into our three subtopics. And just before we get to the most important part, the EPPC 2021 is obviously not just Toby, Lufla, and I, but all of this would not have been possible without our amazing team who have dedicated a lot of time and effort in the last 5 months to make this conference the best experience possible, despite the challenges and uncertainty of COVID. So yeah, we would like to thank them so much. And now the time has come for you to get involved. And the sign-up link for the EPPC 2021 will launch this very moment on our website, and you can get your tickets right now for interactive workshops, speakers, and panels, all focused on transitioning away from linear consumption. And you can choose between 2 types of tickets. One ticket is for all activities of this year's conference, and another ticket is in case you are limited in time on the weekend of the conference, and you can choose a ticket which does not require attendance for our interactive workshops in cooperation with Circular Berlin, as they are in limited supply. Moreover, we are partnering with Hertie's own the governance post for you to submit articles about the circular economy, our 3 subtopics, digitalization, global trade, and circular cities. And these articles, they will undergo the usual editorial process of the governance post, but then will be shared on both of our platforms for maximum reach. You can submit an article through the governance post website, and you have 3 weeks for this. The deadline is the 1st of April. And yeah, despite this date, it's not a prank. And last but not least, you can follow us on all of our social media for updates and further announcements, and explore our interactive schedule, which we will launch right now on our website.